Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to build your ultimate math toolkit. We're talking about tackling one of the most common puzzles in algebra, quadratic equations. And by the time we're done here, you'll have 3 super powerful methods to solve any quadratic that dares to cross your path. So let's dive right in.
So first things first, what are we even talking about here? A quadratic equation is basically any equation that you can write in this standard form: ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Just think of this as the blueprint for every single problem we're about to solve. And here's the key thing to remember, that a value cannot be 0. Why? Because if it was, that x squared term would just disappear, and poof, it's not a quadratic anymore. Okay, so when we solve these things, what are we actually looking for? We're finding the values of x that make the whole equation true. A cool way to think about it is if you were to graph the equation, the solutions are the points where that curve hits the x-axis. And as you can see, there are really only 3 things that can happen. The curve can cross in 2 different spots, giving you 2 real solutions. It could just barely touch the axis in one spot for one real solution, or it might miss the axis completely, which is when we get into 2 complex solutions. All right, so here's our game plan for today. We've got the basics down on what a quadratic is. Next, we'll grab our first tool, factoring. After that, we'll learn about a technique called completing the square, and then we'll unleash the all-powerful quadratic formula. To wrap it all up, we'll do a quick recap to make sure you know exactly which tool to pull from your brand new math toolkit.
Okay, let's grab our first tool, factoring. You can think of this like the trusty screwdriver in your toolkit. It's not going to work for every single job, but man, when it does, it's fast, it's efficient, and it just feels good to get it done that quickly.
Let's put this tool to the test with this example. X squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. So here's the puzzle. We need to find 2 numbers that multiply together to get that last number, 6, and add together to get the middle number, 5. After a little thought, yep, it's 2 and 3. So we can rewrite the whole thing as x plus 2 times x plus 3 equals 0. Now here's the key. If you multiply 2 things and the answer is 0, one of those things has to be 0, right? So we just set each piece equal to 0 and solve from there. And boom, just like that, we get our 2 solutions. X equals -2 and x equals -3. See what I mean? When factoring works, it is hands down the fastest tool you've got. But what happens when the numbers aren't so friendly and you just can't find a way to factor it? Well, that's when we need a more versatile tool. Let's add completing the square to our kit. Think of this as your adjustable wrench. It takes a few more steps, sure, but it can handle those trickier problems where factoring just won't cut it. Okay, let's give this one a shot. X squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. First step, we just move that constant, the minus 5, over to the other side of the equation. Now here comes the magic trick, right here in step 2. You take the middle coefficient, -4, cut it in half to get -2, and then you square that, which gives you 4. Then you add that 4 to both sides. And what you've just done is you force the left side to become a perfect square, x minus 2 squared, and that is so much easier to work with because now we can just take the square root of both sides. From there, it's pretty straightforward. We solve for the 2 possibilities. What happens when x minus 2 equals +3? And what happens when it equals -3? And that gives us our 2 solutions, x equals 5 and x equals -1. That is a seriously useful technique to have in your back pocket. All right, it's time to bring out the big guns, the power tool. The one method that works on any quadratic equation, I don't care how messy or complicated it looks. I'm talking, of course, about the one, the only, the quadratic formula. And there it is, in all its glory. This formula right here is your fail-safe, your guarantee. As long as you can identify the A, B, and C from your equation, you just plug them in, turn the crank, and you will get the right answer every single time. This is your skeleton key. But wait, before you just start plugging and chugging, take a look at that little piece under the square root sign, b squared minus 4ac. That part has a special name. It's called the discriminant. And it's basically a crystal ball. It tells you the future. It predicts what kind of answers you're going to get before you do any of the other work. So here's how that crystal ball works. If you calculate that discriminant and the number is positive, boom, you know you're looking for 2 different real solutions. If it comes out to be exactly 0, you know there's only one real solution. And if that number is negative, well, that's your big clue that you're about to find 2 complex solutions. It's a fantastic little shortcut. Okay, let's fire up this power tool on 3x squared plus 7x minus 6 equals 0. Step 1, just identify your A, B, and C. Easy enough. A is 3, B is 7, C is -6. Let's check that discriminant first. 7 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 6. That equals 121. It's positive, so we know we should get 2 real answers. Now we just plug everything into the big formula and start simplifying.
And there you go. The formula spits out our 2 answers with perfect precision. X is 2/3 and X is -3. The power tool delivers, every time. Okay, let's step back for a second. Your toolkit is now loaded with 3 awesome, powerful methods. The real trick, the real art, is knowing which tool to grab for the job that's right in front of you.
So here's your strategy, your rule of thumb. Always try factoring first, especially if A is 1 and the numbers look nice. It's just so fast. If that's a no-go, you've got a choice. Completing the square is really elegant, but the quadratic formula is your absolute safety net. It's the one that will always get the job done, no matter what.
So the next time a quadratic equation stares you down, you're not going to panic. You're just going to look at your toolkit, look at the problem, and ask yourself a simple question. Which tool is right for this job?
Hey, if this helped clear things up for you and made you feel a little more confident, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps us out and lets us know we're making useful stuff for you.
And you know, we have a whole library of other explainers just like this one, breaking down all sorts of topics into easy-to-understand steps. So feel free to browse around and see what else you can learn.
And of course, the best way to catch our next explainer is to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and happy solving!